The city never sleeps, and neither do its nightmares. Every criminal I've faced presents a different kind of challenge. Some test my strength, others test my mind, and a few test my very limits. Some are mere distractions. Others, if I fail against them, Gotham falls. This is the ranking of my deadliest enemies, ranked not by infamy, but by difficulty. The greater the challenge, the greater the cost of failure. Let's begin by explaining each tier. S tier. These are the enemies who push me to my absolute limit, mentally, physically, and strategically. If I lose against them, the consequences are irreversible. A tier. Highly dangerous, intelligent, and resourceful. These criminals can take over Gotham if left unchecked, but they have flaws that prevent them from being unstoppable. B tier. Deadly, skilled, and capable of large-scale destruction, but their weaknesses, whether personal obsessions or physical limitations, keep them from being true apex threats. C tier. Strong, intelligent, and dangerous in their own way, but their methods follow patterns, making them easier to counter once you understand them. D tier. Brute force without strategy, destruction without vision. These rogues are dangerous, but they are either too reckless or too easily manipulated to be true long-term threats. Not all villains are equal. Some demand everything I have. Others, they never stood a chance. But even the smallest threat can be deadly if underestimated. And I don't make that mistake. Now let's begin the ranking. Hush. A surgeon's hands, a mastermind's mind, and a broken soul driven by nothing but hatred. Thomas Elliot was once a childhood friend. Now he's one of my most personal enemies. Unlike most of my rogues, his vendetta isn't against Batman, but Bruce Wayne. He knows my past, my weaknesses, and he's used that knowledge to ruin my life from the inside. His surgical skills make him a deadly combatant, and his strategic mind allows him to orchestrate long-term destruction. However, what places him lower on this list is his obsession. He doesn't just want me dead, he wants me to suffer. And that obsession clouds his judgment, making him reckless in the endgame. Two-Face. Harvey Dent is a man torn in half. One side is brilliant, calculating, and still retains a sense of justice. The other is brutal, violent, and unpredictable. But the truth is, he doesn't make decisions. His coin does. That makes him one of the most predictable rogues in my gallery. If I can take control of the coin or disrupt his ability to use it, his entire methodology falls apart. His mind is sharp, but his reliance on fate is his greatest flaw. The Riddler. Edward Nygma is one of the smartest men in Gotham. His ability to construct elaborate puzzles, traps, and challenges makes him a constant threat. But his need to prove he's smarter than me is also his downfall. He wants me to figure out his riddles. He needs to be acknowledged as my intellectual superior. That gives me the opening I need every time. If he truly wanted to win, he wouldn't play games. But he can't help himself. Deathstroke. Slade Wilson is an opponent I never take lightly. Enhanced beyond human limits, trained in nearly every form of combat, and one of the best tacticians I've ever faced, Deathstroke is a perfect weapon. His strategic mind allows him to plan for contingencies, and in a one-on-one fight, very few can match him. However, what holds him back from A tier is his mentality. Slade is a professional killer, not a conqueror. He fights for contracts, not a personal vendetta against Gotham. While he may be an unstoppable force in battle, he lacks the long-term vision to truly threaten the city itself. Killer Croc. Waylon Jones is an unstoppable force of raw muscle and savagery. His reptilian mutation gives him superhuman strength, durability, and regeneration. But in the end, he fights like an animal. He lacks tactics, planning, and control. His reliance on brute force makes him easy to outthink, which is why he never rises above D tier. Mr. Freeze. Victor Freeze is a man lost in time, his body frozen by his own experiments, his mind frozen by his inability to let go of the past. His cryogenic technology makes him nearly unstoppable. His suit grants him superhuman durability, and his freeze gun can turn entire city blocks into ice tombs. However, what limits him is his motivation. He doesn't want to rule Gotham. He doesn't want power. He only wants to save his wife. That singular goal makes him predictable. If his genius were applied elsewhere, he could change the world. Instead, he is locked in an endless cycle of loss and revenge. Poison Ivy. Pamela Isley has the power to wipe out Gotham in a matter of hours. Her control over plant life is unparalleled. If she wanted to, she could level entire city blocks overnight. But her biggest weakness? She still has a conscience. Ivy is not a mass murderer at heart. She fights for something she believes in, not out of bloodlust. That humanity keeps her from being a true extinction-level threat. Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is a wild card, dangerous, erratic, and highly skilled in combat. But what separates her from true threats is her lack of vision. She thrives in chaos, but lacks the long-term planning of Joker or the raw power of Ivy. Without Joker's influence, she struggles to find a true identity, making her unpredictable but ultimately unfocused. Owlman. What if the greatest threat to Gotham was family? In many ways, he is my equal, intelligent, tactical, and relentless. But his flaw, his ego. He doesn't just want to win, he wants to prove he's better than me. That need for validation makes him predictable, and in our war of minds, predictability is the first step toward defeat. Hugo Strange. Strange is one of the few men who nearly destroyed me without ever throwing a punch. His knowledge of psychology allows him to manipulate everyone around him. He has unmasked me before, proving that knowledge can be deadlier than any weapon. But he lacks the physical skill to match his mind. That places him below Owlman. He wants to be me more than he wants to defeat me. Firefly. Garfield Lynns is obsessed with fire, but his obsession is what makes him weak. He lacks any long-term goals. He just wants destruction. That means he doesn't strategize, he doesn't think ahead, and he doesn't have a backup plan. Fire is dangerous, but fire can be put out. Joker. The Joker is one of my most dangerous enemies because he doesn't have a goal, only destruction. He isn't bound by logic, morality, or reason. He doesn't fear death, pain, or loss. He thrives on chaos, turning every confrontation into psychological warfare. I can anticipate the plans of warlords and assassins, but Joker rewrites the rules every time. His ability to manipulate, his complete unpredictability, and his willingness to die just to prove a point put him above every other villain. Ra's al Ghul. Ra's has lived for centuries, perfecting the art of war and strategy. With the League of Assassins under his command, he can topple governments, rewrite history, and kill without a trace. What makes him truly dangerous is his belief that he is the only solution to the world's corruption. Unlike Joker, Ra's has an ideology, a mission he believes is righteous. But that belief is his weakness. He follows a plan, and plans can be countered. That's why he falls short of Joker's unpredictability. Man-Bat. Dr. Kirk Langstrom wanted to cure deafness. Instead, he became a monster. Man-Bat is terrifying in the short term. His raw power and flight capabilities make him a physical threat. But he lacks intelligence in his transformed state. He's not a villain. He's a victim of his own work. The Penguin. Penguin is more than a gangster. He's a crime broker. He doesn't need to fight when he owns the people who do fight. But influence only works when it's protected. Without his resources, he's vulnerable. Solomon Grundy. Grundy is a brute, nearly unstoppable in combat, but he lacks intelligence or direction. He's often a pawn rather than a mastermind. His strength makes him a problem, but without a mind to command it, he will never be a true leader among Gotham's criminals. Bane. Bane is the perfect fusion of brute force and strategic genius. He's not just a fighter, he's a student of war. He studied me before we ever fought, learning my tactics, my weaknesses, my limits. When he struck, it wasn't out of anger. It was cold, calculated precision. He broke my back, shattered Gotham's infrastructure, and nearly took my city. But unlike Ra's, Bane's greatest flaw is his reliance on venom. His addiction weakens his mind and his body over time, keeping him from climbing any higher. Deadshot. Floyd Lawton never misses. Whether it's a mile away or a point-blank shot, if he takes aim, his target is dead. His skills with firearms make him one of the deadliest assassins alive, and his tactical mind allows him to set up ambushes with terrifying precision. However, his downfall is his humanity. Unlike Deathstroke, Deadshot lacks enhanced abilities. He's just a man with impeccable aim. That makes him lethal in the short term, but limited in his overall impact. He thrives in hired contracts, but he isn't a true mastermind, and that's why he ranks lower. Black Mask. Unlike Penguin, Black Mask thrives in violence. He doesn't just run crime, he terrorizes it. But his lack of self-control keeps him lower. His rage makes him sloppy. Scarecrow. Crane is not a fighter, he doesn't need to be. His fear toxin is enough. One dose and reality warps into a nightmare. I've seen hardened criminals tear out their own eyes under its effects. Even I am not immune. What places him below Bane? Dependency. Without his gas, he's just a man. His toxin is powerful, but if I take away his delivery method, he's powerless. Still, the damage he could inflict on Gotham is apocalyptic. That keeps him in S tier. Every rogue in Gotham presents a different kind of challenge. Some demand brute force, others demand precision, and a few require everything I have. But no matter their methods, no matter their power, one fact remains unchanged. I am always watching, always prepared. Batman out.